Okay, well, we're here to share our trip to Africa. Um, we're there helping Haruma Hope. They were here sharing with our church. How long ago was that? A year ago? Anyway, um, we've been involved with them for what, probably 6 years now, and supporting a child. Now we support two, and there's some families in our church that also are supporting some of the kids, and they asked us to go, and so we jumped at the chance, and we took a trip to Kenya and checked it out for ourselves. And anyway, this is the group back here that went. There was 10 of us.
There was three couples and then four ladies. So that was new for them. They had never had couples go before, so that changed a little bit of dynamics, but it was really fun. Just a little history, if you didn't hear their presentation before about their mission and what they do there, and how it got started there at this school. So I'm just going to kind of read a recap that's on their website, or at least on this documentation they gave us. So the small Haruma Nursery School was started as a community project way back in 1979, and the main objectives were to provide early childhood education and adult classes and serve as a social hall for community events. And in those early years, the school depended on money collected from parents and community members. And due to the level of poverty in the community, learning was always disrupted because of lack of funds. And the original building that they had for that, though, is now the lower level of the school, or the preschool and kindergarten classes. So in 1994, a local politician there named Betty Tett intervened and refurbished the school and added 2 more classrooms, which is the rest of the lower level, now grades 1 and 2, for the baby and pre-unit classes at that time. And she started a porridge feeding program for the children and paid teachers their salaries. In 2006, Betty quit politics, left the school in the hands of the parents, and within a few months, the school almost closed due to lack of funds to run it. And then a local youth group called the Runda Youth Sports Association noticed the problem, volunteered to save it from closing, and they contacted the Swedish Society and Swedish Embassy in Nairobi, and they donated funds to run the school and keep it running for a while. So in 2005, a team from North Albany Community Church, by invitation of Sally Graydon, went to Nairobi to help build a water system and latrines here in this Haruma slum. The slum was on the edge of the Runda estates, and we'll show you that later. It's like so close to all of these beautiful houses and rich area. An upper-class community made up of homes for many international leaders and business people. At that time, the group visited the Haruma Nursery School, and in January 2005, it consisted of about 50 children, ages 3 to 6, in 3 classes. There were 3 teachers whose salaries were nominal and often unpaid. The children received a cup of porridge a day and were sent home at noon. After that group returned to Oregon, they took the needs of the school to their church body and asked for assistance in salaries and food for the school. And it took until 2008 to set up an ongoing support program through North Albany Community Church, in partnership with Karura Chapel. That was a church near there in Kenya. From 2008 to 2015, so the school existed solely on the donations from the body of North Albany Community Church and individual supporters who sponsored students $25 to $30 per month. And through special donations and gifts, other needs were supplied that included classroom supplies, uniforms, books, increased nutritional food for 2 meals a day, so they were served breakfast and lunch, and then the school extended their day to 3 p.m. rather than having the children leave at noon and be unattended. So Haruma Hope International became an official 501c3 nonprofit in July of 2015. They kind of outgrew the body of North Albany Community Church and needed to expand to get other support. The vision of Haruma Hope was to open the doors for continued support for the school and future by providing hope for every child to receive a good start with a quality education, hope to grow healthy children with good nutrition and health care, hope for every child and family to have a relationship with Jesus Christ, hope that the children will continue in school beyond elementary and into secondary school, and hope for each child to grow into the people that God has planned for their lives. So since then, since 2015, Haruma Hope School has grown from that 3 preschool kindergarten classes to a full elementary school with full preschool kindergarten grades 1 through 6. And Hope employs a director, a head teacher, 8 classroom teachers, 2 cooks and cleaners, and they serve breakfast and lunch. And in 2026, they started a scholarship, or they added a scholarship coordinator position. So the school can accommodate up to 160 students, and presently, this was in January, 85% of the students are supported with monthly support between $35 to $40 per month. And presently, 36 students who attend junior high or senior high and universities receive scholarships above that from donors. So the school has had many building repairs and additions throughout these years that have included the second floor to both buildings that now includes 8 classrooms, a library, school office, bathrooms for teachers and students, along with a kitchen with sinks, cabinets, and a propane stove. And as of October 2025, a new goal was set to have each graduating grade 6 student be supported through junior high with hopes to continue the support through high school. So that's part of that new position, that scholarship coordinator, to help facilitate all of that. They thought about trying to grow the school to include more grades, but they realized with the space and money for that, it was better to just get support to have them go to other schools. So that's kind of where that program is going at this time.
Yeah, and I was going to add, so the gentleman on the right, far right, he's a really good carpenter, and he helped get the construction of the second level going, I don't know how many, quite a few years ago. But he was telling me that in that neighborhood, the buildings have a lifespan of about 10 years because of termites, and he's had to, a couple trips ago, shore up some of the, which is kind of interesting since there were so many people up on those upper levels. But
I tried not to think about that when I was up there.
So he says in about 3 years, probably going to have to rebuild the school. So that's going to take a financial hit, I'm sure. Okay. So here's our flight path. We flew 5 hours from Portland to JFK, New York City. And then from there, we flew 14 hours to Nairobi. And that's a long flight.
Avoid it if you can.
And I was, a large plane with 2 aisles, and you got 3 seats on one side, 3 seats on the other side, and 3 seats in the middle. And of course, I was in the very middle of the middle. 14 hours and 15 hours coming back because of headwinds. But I made it. Okay, so there's Kenya. To get an idea where we were, Nairobi is the capital of Kenya, and it's about 200 miles south of the equator. So it's their winter, but they don't have much of season changes, I don't think. But they did seem to think it was cold. It was, 58 degrees for a low and 76 for a high. So it was decent
perfect
weather for us. But they'd show up in these heavy coats and stocking caps. But so that's where we were. And let's see. So a few statistics on Kenya. I'm still trying to figure out this country. It was only there 2 weeks, but it just raised so many questions. I've been doing a deep dive on the internet. I still can't figure it out. But anyway, so it's got the city of Nairobi has a population of about 5.6 million, and a big city. 60% of the population live in informal settlements, which are the slums. So 60%, but they live on only 6% of the residential area. So they're packed in tight. And there's obviously a lot of wealth in the city, but it's, I don't know how to describe it. The absolute poverty is just right next to the wealth, and you'll go through parts of the city where it seems like any other city for the most part, except for some areas of, I guess you would say, backwardness intermixed with just, what you would consider normal. And then the areas that are just absolutely the most wealth and richness that I've ever seen next door. But then also the religious makeup, as far as, people that profess Christianity, it's higher than the U.S. It's 80%, 12% Muslim, and 8% other. And so then we'll go to the next.
Oh, this is just a picture of travel. We're in New York for quite a while on our way over, so see a few people sleeping there on the floor. There was card games going on, and it was actually pretty entertaining in the terminal there in New York, because this was the flight to Africa, and there was so many people groups getting ready to board this plane, and there was
other planes going to Asia.
In that area, just different dress and cultures, and the Jewish people, and they were in their doing their prayer things and tying their little thing to their arms and not passing it around so they could all recite their prayers. And it was
the little box on their head.
They put the little box on their head, and I don't know. It was just, there was lots to watch, and things that would happen, and I'd be like, I gotta Google that. I don't know what they're doing. So it was just like, there was no lack of entertainment while we were away. So the next one is, I think this is when we boarded our flight,
getting ready to go to Africa.
Flight. That's our niece Rochelle next to us that went.
Yeah.
And then the next one is after our 14-hour flight.
Yeah, I squeezed me in there.
It was very hot on the plane.
Well, the back of it was really cold. Yeah. Everybody was covered up.
Our section was hot.
And ours was really hot. But,
anyway.
So this is our bus ride from the airport to where we stayed the whole time, which is at another ministry called Heart Lodge that was started by a nonprofit that came in to help with the AIDS crisis. And
but
then
they do lots of health education and things now.
So
all of our luggage got put on the top of this big bus.
Not tied down.
Yeah, they just put it all up there, and
there was a railing around.
A little bit, and we were like, okay, well, we'll see if our luggage is there when we
we had a lot of luggage because we all brought our own suitcase, and then another suitcase filled with supplies for the school, which was another interesting part, because when we came into the airport through customs, it came very evident that we were all part of a group and we were bringing supplies into the country, and so they want to tax those, and they sent us to an official, and there was some arguing going on between our group leaders and the officials, and it started out they wanted to charge us $1,000, and they got it talked down to $200. So anyway, we had to pay $200 to get the luggage in.
Yeah, and there was a little bit of confusion there, but yeah, we made it through.
Yeah. This is the ride to Heart Lodge, just going through the city. And we can go to the next one.
Just showing that it's
hard to get pictures city. Out the van, but
yeah.
And there's a lot of cars, nice cars, really. Like Mexico, there was a lot of Toyota Hilux, and the whole city smelled like diesel fumes. So, but but then there was also a lot of, what do they call them, bodas,
Bodas,
which
the
are
little motorbikes.
motorcycles,
And
and
they can haul anything on those, just so you know.
four people at a time, or
You can haul a king size mattress behind
yes,
you
there's a
on
king
them.
size mattress.
It's interesting.
Yeah. So if
I
you
don't
have
know
a
how
car,
they don't fall over.
Okay, next. There's where we stayed, Hart Lodge. And the Hart Lodge is in the gated area where, I mean, part of the really nice area. So it was a nice place to stay with beautiful grounds. They did have a water problem. We can talk about the showers if you want.
It was just Russian roulette showers. I mean, so there's no citywide, water system. So just like in Mexico, everything was on, water tanks on your property. So you had water tanks that flow. There's not guaranteed pressure or temperatures or anything. So we're all in different rooms, and our stories every morning about, what the shower was like.
Work?
So one room, they only ever had hot water. One room, they only ever had cold water. And, when you got in the shower, you just didn't know how long the water would last because it would just shut off. And then you just, you might be lathered up and you got to wait like 5 or 6 minutes before the water comes back on. And so, it's first world problems, right? I mean, it was no big deal, but it was just our kind of comic relief, when we would get together in the morning for breakfast, like, well, how was your shower? And all of the stories of what happened.
They had solar hot water heaters on the roofs.
We had hot water in our toilet.
Yeah, we had hot water plumbed into our toilet. That was kind of interesting.
Other than that, the place was really nice.
It was nice. So here, first night, we get, we're all ready to fall asleep on our feet, but we had to unpack the suitcases and pack up in separate bags for the supplies during the different days that we're going to bring to the school.
Yeah. 10 of the giant suitcases, max to 50 pounds each, full of supplies. So then we had to sort it all because it was just randomly put in bags to equal 50 pounds a bag. Yeah. So you can go just quickly through the next couple slides. We had supplies for VBS. We had a bunch of stuff we were taking to the school. And then we took we sorted it all. We took all the suitcases down to one of the couples got kind of a little townhouse where we did our meetings, and they stored all the stuff. And every day we went to the school, we took different stuff to the school, one or two suitcases with us to take there.
And they had a great the dining hall. They fed us breakfast and dinner every day, and they had really quite good chefs.
It was good.
And great staff, and really good. Now this is a video. I'm going to kind of describe. Here we got speed bumps, and those speed bumps are everywhere throughout the city, even the major highways. They try to keep the speed limit down, and even the cars have an alarm that sounds if they go over the speed limit. So
it's about an 8-minute drive from where we were staying at Hart Lodge to Haruma Village.
Now on the right, well, later you're going to see the tops of the town. These are really nice townhouses that are really big and nice. Well, you can't see them in this video very well, but on the left is the a national forest in the city. There's a river that runs through it. I think there's 2 major rivers that run through Nairobi, and there is crocodiles in them. But
yeah, all of the housing areas are gated communities, or even like where we were at Hart Lodge, the road we were on, everybody has their own gate that's like manned by a person, a security guard. They open and close the gate. Everybody's houses has like people
and it's
guarding.
all night long, 24/7. Yeah. There's one of the water towers for water for the nice houses, and then we're going to turn up here pretty soon. That van's ours. We're in 2 different vans. And this is some of the poorer people out front. They're selling some things along the road. And then we go in, and start seeing some shanties. And then on the left, you're going to see their soccer field, which is not flat. Part of it's flat where they have a kind of a play area, but then you'll see the goal posts. Well, that's the play area, and then there's a goal right right here. It kind of goes down, and then it's kind of up and down to the other side. But there's, I'm not sure if anybody's living on those first few ones or not. There's a parking area up here at the front, and there's this particular part of the slum, the village is about 3,000 people, and that's about how many cars there is for 3,000 people that can afford a car. Most people can't. There is a few motorbikes. And there's a couple little, there's probably, the population is definitely mostly kids. So we can go to the next one.
Go to the next video. So we would get dropped off here because you can't really drive much further. The streets get really narrow. So they would drop us off right there on that paved area, or over here in this parking area where they're also stored firewood.
That's the thing that you'll see later. The village is, they're packed, house next to house next to house, and a lot of them actually burn wood inside, and of course a fire is a big danger. In fact, they just had a year ago a fire right next to the school where I don't know, quite a few houses burnt down, and Haruma Hope did help with funding building new houses.
I think about 12 houses. So this is after that main road. You turn on the first right, you turn on this little road, and then we walk about a city block down to where the school is.
Yeah. Let's see.
So when we first arrived...
Oh, wait a minute. I was going to say, on the walk down, there's, you can't see, I don't know if we got a picture of it, but on the left, there's kind of a nicer building that's green, that's a church. We never ended up going in that church, but they have really nice doors on the front. But then on the right is a casino, and they have a still in there where they make the alcohol that people in the village drink, and the alcoholism is a big problem, and it's poisonous because it is, it's not just strong alcohol. That actually, I think the average age for men in the village is 35, 40 years old or something like that. Anyway, this is the greeting we had when we first entered the school.
They had a representative chosen from each grade that greeted us at the door. So that was, it was like all very formal, and they welcomed us into their school.
And in the courtyard, you can look around and see how the heart works. But this is them welcoming us.
You can pause that. It's hard to understand their English, but they are singing in English.
The accent is very heavy.
Something today is a good day to meet our new friends, and how do you do? And we are happy today. Anyway, they sang several songs to welcome us.
I think we got one more. And then we noticed right behind us is one of the kids that we support, the younger one that we support.
Yours. So that was the first and second grade classrooms have like a dividing wall they could open, and that's what they open for kind of their assembly area. So all the students go in there when we want to be all together. They're pretty tight, you can tell, but they don't complain at all. They have a system. They all fit in there, and they can dance and do all kinds of things, even though they're this tight.
Yeah. Then they had a cultural display for us our first day. It was kind of a pageant that they did.
Yeah, they did a traditional dance for us, and then the next slide, the teachers also did some
teachers
reciting of some stuff for us. They had little dress for us to put on when we got there to be part of the cultural day. And then I think the next slide, then they showed us like different food staples that were the traditional food staples for their people group and how they were used, and
things like arrowroot and millet and
yeah,
some other things.
and a lot of that grains and that stuff is what they still use to feed the kids every day. Yeah.
So motto, maybe you better read it. I can't read it from
I
here.
am an achiever, and the mission, a Christian nonprofit institution to support all children, provide quality basic education for each child for future success. That was just on a board right inside the courtyard there at the school. So after we got there and we went through all of that welcome and cultural stuff, we all just were assigned a classroom to go to. Each day we were in a different classroom, and so we got to just be kind of teachers' aides and observe and help see how their education system works. And the kids really enjoyed us being in the classrooms. We got given red pens when it was time to go correct their work, and they wanted us to be the ones to put the check mark on their paper. There were some interesting topics that came up in the classes, and but it was interesting to see how respectful they are in the classroom. I mean, the teacher has total control. I mean, compared to what I see in the U.S. classrooms, I mean, it's like the teacher is, teaching at the board. They're writing everything out. They're like copying everything on paper. They do a lot of writing, and when the teacher's talking, it's just kind of just random sentences, whatever he says, and when he's done saying, they always like kind of repeat the last word that he says, so they're kind of basically they're trained to kind of prove they're still paying attention. It's like he says a phrase and then they'll repeat it. It's like they're staying engaged with what he's talking about.
Yeah, and the upper grades, 4th, 5th, and 6th, the 3 teachers would rotate between those classes depending on what subject was being taught. And every time one of the other teachers would come in through the door, they had this whole saying.
Yeah.
You might hear some of it later, but they would greet each teacher. And then when he left and the other one came in, they would greet that teacher, and he would greet him back. And everything was very...
Yeah, they would even stand up, I think, when the teacher came in and say,
sometimes.
Welcome to class, Teacher Thomas. How are you? How are you doing today? And then he would say, I'm doing fine. How are you? And then they would say, we're doing fine. And it's like every single time.
Yeah.
And even when we would walk into a classroom, because we would be kind of interrupting when we got there and walk in, they would all stand up and welcome us to the classroom like that.
And they'd ask how you are, and they'd say it really funny. They'd go, how are you? And it would always go, you? And then you answer, I'm doing fine, how are you? But
this is the 6th grade classroom.
Yeah, and I was just going to also say it's interesting, this is a Christian organization, so the teachers they hire are Christian, but they're required to use the nation's curriculum, but it just so happens the nation requires everybody to be part of the curriculum religious studies. So 80% are Christians, so they get Christian studies. If they're Muslim, they get Muslim studies, and if they're Hindu, they get Hindu studies. But it's this is, they had Christian in their teachings, in their books. And I was in 1st grade, and the teacher brought out the Bible, and this is before I knew all this. I thought it was kind of interesting, and she opens it up and tells a story about Peter's mother-in-law and being healed by Christ, and she used that to teach all the 1st graders what a mother-in-law was. That was, anyway.
You could just kind of flip through. I think just some classroom pictures here of the different things. The classes are small. They've got these desks, and the walls are covered. And then the younger grades would take a walk every day. So some of us got to go out on the walks with them if we were in their classrooms. There's 2 different areas. They would go to this grassy area or to that red field.
And they all wanted to hold your hand, and you can't hold every kid's hand at the same time.
But they would try.
And in the first graders, there was one child that you could tell that probably got in the most trouble. And
there were a few of those.
His name was Nathan, and he chose me to be the one he really wanted to hang on to. And so he would rip other kids' hands out of my hand, and so he could hold my hand. And when we went on the walk, there was like 3 ditches we had to cross, and said, we can't do this holding on hands. We got to jump together. And he wouldn't do it, and I dropped him in 3 different ditches. But there's
Then when we were out and about, all the younger kids and kids that weren't in the school would always come around us too. This little girl was always in these frilly dresses. She was so cute.
You'll see they're playing soccer, and the ladies that go out into the national forest to cut wood for their fires are just walking through with it on their backs. Okay.
And this was, they had one day a week, they have sports day, so they all come in their, they have this other uniform with their sweats and stuff, and so they do there's lots of PE activities that day. So that was the day they went out and played soccer, and they would just do different games in the courtyard. They were doing tug of war here and trying to use them as their anchors. Didn't work real well, but
no.
And different games. And everything was always very loud.
Yeah.
They're very energetic, and
the gentleman on the left is pretty animated. He's pretty funny.
Oh, with the beard.
Yeah.
He was a lot of fun in our group.
Yeah. I think he's a worship leader at the Shift Church.
Paul. Yeah. But in between different activities, wherever we would go with kids, they just wanted to play and have fun, and it was just constant.
It was, sort of similar when I was in Mexico. They seemed to be enamored with the hair on my arms, and so a little girl was rubbing hair on my arms, and just like in Mexico, I remember this. But anyway, rubbing my arm, and then she put her hand up the sleeve of my shirt, and she just got a really surprised look on her face. Says, "You're hairy up there too," but they're very physical. But
there was a bunch of girls pointing at me and saying something. It took me a while to figure out what they were saying, and they were talking about my nose, and they're like, "Why is your nose so pointy?" Because they all have the flatter noses, and then they were just like, "Why is your nose that way?" That was funny.
Yeah, pointy nose. Yeah, then we could just.
I mean, you just couldn't avoid having fun and loving these kids from the instant you were there.
Yeah. These desks, one of the things we did with there was we sanded them because they're going to paint them later, but the idea came up because they're kind of falling apart, and I think they're going to try some sort of fundraising to be able to buy desks.
Individual desks
for the kids.
So I think there's they're trying to come up with a plan, maybe do a fundraising type thing where you can sponsor a desk or whatever. So stay tuned for that. But this is just kind of showing like we said, they did 2 meals a day. That they would get in the mid morning, like the breakfast was this cup of, they call it porridge. And it looks kind of like it's like chocolatey, but it's not. It's just like great.
Beans in it, isn't it?
It has some beans and grains and stuff in it. And then the kids also bring a snack from home to kind of go with their porridge in the morning, or they're supposed to. Not everybody does, but when I was in one of the classrooms, I think it was 3rd grade when this happened, and You know, certain kids didn't have stuff, but I mean, everybody just shared,
shared.
and the way they were such a community and took care of each other. Like they also some mornings would get a boiled egg, and some of them would peel the other person's egg and bring it to them and do the different things. But they just really took care of each other. So this is just the porridge they get in the morning, and I think the next one maybe shows. Oh, that's the porridge. The next one shows one of the lunches. This is the kindergarten class. They bring it all in, and then they all wait, and one person gets assigned to hand it all out, and they wait till everybody gets their food, and they start.
Yeah, one of the leaders that had been there a lot of times said when he first started going here, a lot of the children were malnutritioned, and one of the things you can tell that they're malnutrition is that their hair turns red, and nobody had red hair. Well, there was one little boy that was old enough for school that I saw that had like one little square patch of red on him, but everybody looked, for the most part, really healthy.
Yeah, so they have a time scheduled for each class that goes out. There's toothbrushes and there for each kid, so they all go out to brush their teeth, so that they know that they get their teeth brushed every day. So they're lined up to get their toothpaste and their water, and they were posing for a picture. And then they also have different times throughout the day that they go out to wash their hands. I think that's the next couple pictures, just them lined up. Yeah. They get soap put on their hand, and then line up to go to the faucet to wash their hands. So, you know, they're teaching them hygiene and things there in the school as well.
And this is kind of sad, really. Lots of times the little kids that aren't old enough yet are the ones. The school's
that's the gate.
Yeah, that's the gate looking into the school, and they'll just look in at all the kids having fun, and they're just out there. But the almost school always can only hold so many, and so it's like a first come as far as who they let in. And once each class, you know, is at 20, they have to stop letting anybody else. So
we would start each day upstairs in the principal's office. That's not what she's called it. School leader.
Director?
And
I don't know.
School director. That's
she's a principal.
And kind of get our instructions for the day. And that's where we would bring our suitcases of the supplies and stuff every day. Next picture, we brought tablets for all the classrooms. I think we brought more than one for each classroom, because I think all of us had one in our bag. One of the new curriculum requirements is some technology learning, and they didn't have anything for the kids to meet that qualification to learn that stuff. So there's now at least one tablet for every classroom, so the kids can learn operating those. And then we also had a new laptop for Anne, and you can see how excited and she was to get that. I think there's just a few random pictures in here.
And then one of the whiteboards, maybe.
And then maybe whiteboards are next. I'm not sure. Yeah, we brought whiteboards, enough for all of the students. We had one of the girls on our team. It was a teacher in Salem School District. I think fourth grade teacher.
No, she's Lebanon.
Oh, she's Lebanon. Yeah, that's right. So she had the idea for these whiteboards because they do a lot of writing, and the supplies for the paper and stuff is expensive, and so she kind of spearheaded that idea. We did some fundraising and Amazon wish lists, and people bought all of these whiteboards that we brought, and they were actually kind of heavy, but so this was introducing them to the students. They really liked them. The teachers got trained by Heather, the gal, the teacher.
There's 3 Heathers on our trip.
There were 3 Heathers on our team. Oh. So, you know, how to use them effectively in the classroom for different things, because it's an idea that the teachers weren't familiar with. So she did hands-on training with them, and so it was really good, and the kids were excited about them. I think the next picture shows, you know, this was the class I was in. They were drawing their math. They were doing fractions, and so they were. I
know the class I was in, the teacher was getting a little frustrated with them using the whiteboards when they weren't supposed to, but they'll get that figured out. So one of the things that they wanted me to do, and why they asked me specifically, was to help with their garden area and figure out space-saving things. And of course, things aren't ever exactly what you think they're going to be. And so we went and I talked to the teacher. He's bending down there, but this is before this day. We're discussing, I was saying, well, we're discussing ideas like these grow bags and bucket tomatoes where they grow upside down, kind of hanging from up above all these things. And he says, no, this isn't a garden for us to be eating from. It's just for teaching purposes. And so if a plant starts to die, we learn why is it dying, and other ones that are doing well, why it's doing well, and so forth. And it was actually a relief because when I looked at the space, there's you can see it's a narrow strip with tall walls on either side, so the sun is like for a very short part of the day. So it was good to know that we didn't really have to worry about it being a very productive garden. But I got to teach a class, and we did get, I was wanting to do a grow bag, which are quite popular in Kenya, where the big ones, they can grow 100 plants around the side of the bag. And I was going to get, because they sell them that are UV protected and so forth and already have the holes in them and so forth. And he says, no, I will get the soil and manure, which he did, fill it up. But I want to use just a bag they can find in their house because I want them to learn how to do this with what they have. So, but the one problem was you actually need rock at the base and through the center for support and for being able to water and for drainage. But so we didn't have that. But we planted strawberries in it, and I taught them how to transplant, and we planted a couple on the side of the bag and a couple on the top, and we'll see. It might be a learning experience on what not to do. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah,
You can just
gonna transplant a strawberry, and there's filling the bag. And there's a sanding desk that turned us all blue.
Then Saturday they were out of school, and we went back, and some of the teams stayed there and did sanding while other teams went out. But I guess we're going back in time. The next one. On Friday, we got to take the 6th graders to the amusement park. So this time of they don't actually graduate from 6th grade until October, and that's usually when the team goes, is in the fall, but this was a summer trip, so it was a little earlier than their graduation, but the 6th graders still got to go on this trip to an amusement park, which is
and most of them had never been.
That they'd never done.
Never been.
So that was a fun day with the 6th graders.
And that's going up the Ferris wheel.
So they just there was like a guide from the amusement park that just took our group around, and we just stopped at every ride, and everybody got to ride each ride one time.
I didn't ride them all.
I just did the Ferris wheel.
We doing?
Oh, there's me and Duncan that we support. That was the log ride. I did go on that and the Ferris wheel, and that was it.
And then Saturday, like I mentioned, we went back to the school, and we were scheduled to do 15 home visits of the students. So we had purchased just a bunch of pantry basics to fill bags to take to each home we went to as a gift. So that was the stuff that we bought at the store.
And
that's kind of a view of the top of the village from the school.
And I'll kind of read I'll just read a couple of them. But as far as picking the families that we brought the care basket to and prayed with them were some of the families that were in real need. This one's for Ambrose Wakaria, but need for a visit. The family faces hard times to meet their needs since the great-grandmother who's raising them, because I think this is the one where his mother's an alcoholic. But anyway, the great-grandmother is the one taking care of him, and she's old and can't work anymore. And additionally, Ambrose's mother, is a chronic alcoholic who can't be relied on. And so visits mean everything and will restore hope in them. So there's a lot of of these, reading them, a lot of them are alcohol-related problems.
Some of the places were very narrow to walk through, as
Yeah.
you can see there.
This is
Very uneven ground.
They did. Some of them did have little TVs, but that's kind of what you had to walk through. A lot of clothes drying all the time. And this is the older child on the right. He's in high school, and he kind of helps take care of his brother. And that's kind of what you'd have to walk down. You really got to be careful you don't cut yourself on some of the tin as you're walking.
And this was actually, I think this was Ambrose's great grandma.
Okay.
She wasn't at home when they went, and so she came to the school because she really wanted to thank us for the stuff and talk to us and pray for us.
Mm-hmm.
So she came down there. And the gal next to her is one of our team members, has supported since the beginning, and she's in college now, so they still support her. And her family still lives in the village, so she came for the weekend to be with Joel and Heather, and she was kind of a guide for us and helped us.
And those yellow jugs are old, they carry cooking oil, and they wash them out, and that's what they carry water in. A lot of them will wash their clothes in their houses in tubs, but then other people wash it in the river down below. But there is, that's the water system.
That's the water system.
PVC
down.
pipe from a tank way up high down into some of the houses and so forth. Did we get the picture of walking down towards the river yet?
Yeah, you were talking. It was there.
Well, I didn't get to talk about it.
It's all right. We're almost out of time.
All right.
There was a river. They washed those. So the teachers, that was the morning of Saturday. In the afternoon, the teachers came to Heart Lodge for a lunch with us. So we got to spend some time with them away from the students, getting to know them and talking with them. And so that was a really good time. And then the next week we had, that's when we did kind of the VBS special stuff with the kids for 3 days. These two guys were from that Karura Bible Church that has been kind of partnered with them, and they came and did the music every morning at the beginning of VBS, and it was kind of like exercise class for us.
Yeah, I had a video.
There was dancing.
I had a video of Heather dancing, but she wouldn't let me put it in there, so.
We're standing behind the guys. I mean, we didn't have any rehearsal. We just had to stand behind them and try to figure out the motions and dancing. There's a couple videos. And they just could dance all crowded in together. Time for us to get And I think this has a little bit of their little greeting of the "How are you?" Thing. Maybe not. That's all right. We can skip it. And then we had crafts each day. All of the stuff we bought, we had bought on clearance. It was Thanksgiving crafts from here, but our theme for the VBS was thankfulness. So they didn't understand why we had pumpkins and turkeys and all that. So we had, we got to talk to them about the American holiday of Thanksgiving, but they were still applicable things that we did with them, but they had fun doing the different crafts. You just kind of flash through those.
pumpkins.
those pumpkins, they got to write on each thing like things they were thankful for, and then we shared in the classroom.
And I
So
think
it was really neat.
where they punched the pumpkins out of what was left over. And it just happened randomly in a whole bunch of different classes without them knowing that the other ones had done it, and they all stuck those on their faces. I'm not sure
My class
exactly
didn't
why.
do that. I just picked them up. Younger
so-
kids got one day for their craft sidewalk chalk, which they had never used, and so they had a lot of fun with that. And then we had games
Balloon stomp.
as part of the VBS.
They even
Total-
made us do it at one point.
Yeah,
but-
total chaos.
Okay.
And snack time, this is
Blue
one of the
or-
days was these Oreos with blue filling, so they got to have blue tongues. They all thought that was pretty fun. And we did skits at the end of VBS every day, so that was just we didn't have very many pictures of our skits because we were in them. And then it was, those of us that had kids there that we sponsored, it was just a neat time to connect with them. So this is just a few pictures of people connecting with their kids that they sponsor. And then I have some pictures of some of the kids that some of our congregation sponsors.
Those are our two.
I think we have a total of 7 kids that are sponsored by people at our church. So that's pretty cool. And this is the whole school students.
Yeah, and I just put in one more plug as far as the school. Both of us were completely impressed with the teachers that they hired and the staff and the way the school's run. The kids a lot of them coming, even though English is the national language, a lot of them don't know. Might want to stop the pictures just for a second. Coming in, just know their, I guess what you say, tribe language. A lot of the adults in the village don't speak English. They just speak what they grew up with. And so when they come in preschool, they immediately start teaching them in English. And that's what the curriculum is all in, is English. And then they teach them Swahili, which is the other national language. And so the kids, when they get out, they know 3 languages. So that's pretty cool.
I think that's the last night of, someone took a picture of kind of the sunset there from Heart Lodge. We got up at 5:30 in the morning the day we were leaving to get picked up by 2 vans to have our little fun day on our way to the airport, right? Our flight didn't go out till like 11:30 p.m., but we started our day at 5:30 a.m. to go to do a little safari at the Nairobi National Park. So we got there right before daylight.
And it's in 2 vans. We were
With those
in
pop-tops.
with pop tops, and so you're standing up, and all the dust is coming in.
And
Of
all our
course, we got
luggage, all our luggage is in the vans with us.
Yeah.
It was a
There's-
little different than some of us were expecting, so we got really dirty, but it was really cool. The national park's in the city, so you can see sometimes the city behind it.
There's
we got to see the animals.
the park is fenced off on 3 sides to keep animals out of the city, I guess, and it's opened on the south because all the animals are wild and they migrate in there because they have some watering holes that they're attracted to. So.
Let's show you a few of the animals that we saw.
And they have all the major animals. They have lions and cheetahs and leopards and hyenas, but we didn't see any of those because it just happened to be the luck of the draw. I guess a vehicle ahead of us did see some lions, but they must all have been hiding in the grass when we went by.
I know they were there somewhere. You can go ahead.
Hippos, rhinoceroses. The birds like the rhinoceroses, ostriches. There's impala, a female, and then there's a male. And there's a jackal. And there's a couple Nile crocodiles. They're about 12 feet long, probably. Monkey, baboons. They didn't let you out of the rig except for these 2 places that had picnic tables and restrooms. and it's not fenced, so I don't know why they let us out there. It's kind of disconcerting.
The
But
baboons
the
were a little
baboons,
scary
one of the
there.
baboons tried to jump into a vehicle behind us, and the driver had to get out and chase it away. But
And after we left the national park, we did stop at this one organization. They open up an hour every day. They have kind of an orphanage for baby. They had one baby rhinoceros and a baby zebra and
14
14
elephants.
So that's what this.
And they reintroduce them into the wild after they're healthy again.
And then this is how dirty we were. I don't know if you can see the dirt level on our faces. So this is the beginning of our really long travel day home, or days. So our luggage is covered in dirt. We're covered in dirt.
I had to
And,
buy
yeah.
a souvenir T-shirt to change my shirt.
It was an interesting day home. That's all I'll say. So this is just their website. If you want to learn more about them, harumahope.org. And I think this is the ones they show on the site currently that still need sponsors. So
Yeah,
if you feel led to do that, you can go on there and check that out.
yeah, they're doing really good things, and I would definitely encourage everybody that is supporting their kids now that continue support, because it's definitely being put to good use. It's a nonprofit organization that 100% of the funds go to this school. So, except for minus a little bit of paper used here.
Filing fees.
Yeah, but other than that, it's all going to the school.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was our trip.
So I'm going to sing that song again, Don't Let Your Love Grow Cold, not the last one I had planned. And we're going to sing that one again. Now you know it. I'm going to slow it down a little bit. I tend to rush this one a little. Don't let my love grow cold. I'm calling out, light the fire again. And let my vision die. I'm calling out, light the fire again. You know my heart, my beats. I'm calling out, light the fire again. I need your discipline. I'm calling out, light the fire again. Iron here to buy gold, refined in the fire. Naked and poor, wretched and blind I come. Clothe me in white, so I won't be ashamed. Lord, light the fire again. Don't let my love grow cold. I'm calling out, light the fire again. Don't let my vision die. I'm calling out, light the fire again. You know